Hey guys, hope you're doing good. So I was having a discussion with a client of mine who's almost making 6 figures a month, right? And I was telling him about the importance of building an audience, right? So for those who don't know, we take clients, who are making 5 to 10K to 15K to 30K a month, and we help them add an extra 50K to 100K per month, right? Now, the easiest thing to do to scale a service-based business is really simple. This is how you do it. You simplify your offer, right? You go on YouTube, you find the thing that the market cares the most about. And how do you do that? I'll be making a training about this because this is actually a cool way to find what the market actually cares about. But you would go on to, let's say you're targeting e-commerce brands or SaaS businesses, right? You would look up the influencers of this space, of this niche, right? On YouTube, right? You would go on their page and go to the most viewed videos, right? What happens when you look at the first row of videos that have the most amount of views, right? You'll literally find people who have like 100 subscribers on YouTube, but with videos that have 10,000 views, right? What does that tell you about the thing that they just talked about in that video? Is that that's what the market cares about, okay? Because if there is search around the specific title, if there is search around the specific training, it's because there is demand around the specific thing. Okay, so if you're trying to scale a service business, right, you would first do that kind of research around your niche, right? Oh, this is actually such a fucking great insight. I think Sam Ovens was like, when I went through Consulting Accelerator, he was like, oh, to find the right insight, to find the right pain to solve for a niche, you should speak with 40 people on Messenger, you should get them on a call, and you should, just find the offer, refine it, just like a feedback loop, right? But to me, I don't really do that. I go on the influencers of the niche, I look at their YouTube pages, I look at the most viewed video, and I pick that as the thing that I'm going to be selling, the thing that has the highest amount of views on YouTube, right? But that's not really what the whole what this video was about. I don't really want to just show you how to get the right insights around the niche or the right thing to the biggest in-demand thing around your niche. But anyway, I was talking about how to scale a business, right? So you would find the right thing that the market is in search for, in demand for, right? And then you want to build an acquisition flow, right? You're going to pick the outbound channels, you're going to pick the messaging. Are you going to go evergreen, right? Are you just going to use an evergreen video where you just use it to educate a bunch of people because they have the same attributes, they have the same pain, they have the same similar lifestyle budget, right? Where you don't need a lot of personalization, right? As an example, like for agency owners, I could use an evergreen video to sell them, or I could use an evergreen video to sell to coaches. I can use an evergreen video to sell to content, to consultants or even SaaS businesses. Why? Because they're selling the same thing. It's always the same price point, it's always the same thing, right? But when I'm selling to e-commerce brands, it might be different because a subscription brand is not scaled the same way that you would sell a brand that just sell like a hoodie, right? A one-off purchase, right? Even though it's the same thing, it's the same advertising strategy, but the thought behind scaling the brand is always different, right? So when you're selling to brands, you kind of like need maybe more personalization than you would to businesses that have similar like attributes, right? Now, the truth is, if you use personalization within your outreach, you're always going to see better results than evergreen, right? So you pick the outreach workflow, evergreen or versus personalized, and then you would build an outbound team, right? Or you would leverage paid ads, or you would do whatever, right? And then that would generate you leads. When you get leads, you warm them up, you get them on a sales call, and then you sell them, right? That would be the fastest way that we would scale some of our clients' businesses, right? But the truth is that lately, we're still definitely refining offers. We're still solving acquisition. We're placing appointment setters in their businesses. We're building outbound campaigns on Facebook groups, Instagram outreach. I think if we combine the amount of outreach being done by our clients just in our community, I think we would be easily doing over 50,000 outreach a day on Instagram, right? It's pretty insane, right? And our clients average 5 to 10, 1 to 10 warm leads every day. So that would be the easiest thing, which we still do. We're still building outbound infrastructures, right? But the thing that I've been pushing clients to focus on lately is, please, whatever you do, focus on building an audience, okay? Now, people would be like, oh, but I don't want to get in front of a camera. I don't want to become an influencer. I don't want to do it. Well, my question to you is, if you don't want to do it, do you want to be broke, right? Because for me, it's like, you got into this game, you want to be a business owner, but you're not willing to do what business owners have to do. If that's the case, then cool, then come work for me. I'll pay you well, okay? And you put your energy and do the things you want to be doing. But as a business owner, it's your duty to do what it takes. It's not, you're not here to, like, no one, like, I don't get this from people. Starting a business is not starting it's not a hobby. I'm not making this video because it's like, I wouldn't rather go rent a supercar and go drive it around. I'd love to be somewhere where it's warm. I'd love to be in the south of Spain or whatever and just drink wine, right? But I'm here in my little apartment grinding since 8:30 this morning, right? I mean, I have to do it, and I've become disciplined, and I love the work nowadays. But when you're not yet winning, you've got to realize that you've got to do everything it is required to actually to get the outcome that you want, right? So being a business owner is not about what you want to do, it's about what you need to do, okay? So let me explain why I believe content is probably one of the most important things to actually focus on, okay? Let me use the example of Alex Hormozi, okay? How can someone who's figured out paid ads, who's figured out how to sell high-ticket programs, who figured out how to build sales teams, who's figured out all these things that we appreciate him for, right? Why would he stop that? Stop focusing on gym launch, stop focusing on other things, to take a step back, okay, and switch his acquisition model to giving away content, value for free, okay, to build an audience, and then from that audience, find businesses that he can partner with and scale from 3 to 10 million to 50 to 100 million, right? Why would he do that? Why couldn't he have done it himself? He could have started a business every month and scaled it to 50K a month, right? No, 50 million a year, right? He could have done that. But what you have to understand is that just being good at acquisition does not make you a $100 million business owner. It does not make you a $1 billion CEO. You know what makes you a $1 billion person? Is it's not just having the skill set of sales. Hey, I'm good at sales. Hey, I'm good at building video sales letters. I'm good at building funnels. I'm great at building marketing assets. I'm great at all these little things. I'm great at booking meetings. That's not a $1 billion skill. And even if you stacked all this skill set, you would not be worth $1 billion, right? But you know what's harder to do? Is to build millions of people following you, right? That's not something that everyone can do, right? So for me, one of the lessons that I've learned from looking at guys like Hormozi, this transition, right, to being a really good business owner, a really good person at acquisition and building infrastructures, to scaling businesses, to seeing him become an influencer, has taught me something really important, right? And that is audience over scale, okay? Because you can always hire someone who's skilled at sales. You can always hire a marketer. You can always hire a systems person. You can always hire someone to solve a specific issue in your business. But you know what you can't hire, what you can't delegate? You cannot delegate a brand, okay? I cannot outsource myself. Of course, if I have hundreds of millions of dollars, I can find someone else to come in and be the image of the company, but people do not buy into the service. People do not buy into clientacquisition.io. They buy into me first, and then they buy into the business, right? And forget about Hormozi. Talk about my own transformation. How did I go from not making 5K a month, not being able to make 5K a month, to like beginning of January of 2021, making my first 10K a month, and by May the following year, like 15 months later, making like 187K a month with like $1,000 on ads, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? But it's because by the time 2022 came around, by the time May came around, I had built up an audience, and from that audience I could do outbound, I could make up offers, I could do amazing things, and this audience would convert without me having to do a million things, a million strategies, right? So one of the things that I'm asking my clients to do is, please, if Hormozy is switching to building content and scaling his YouTube page to 500,000 subscribers, if he's doing that and he's already achieved all the levels that you want to achieve as a business owner, then instead of just trying to do what he did, do what he's doing today. Copy him with the $100 million activities that he's leveraging, that he believes is going to take him to $1 billion, right? And guys, I can't generally like tell you how valuable it is to have an audience, right? And the funny thing is, when you're doing outbound prospecting, because a lot of people don't really understand this, but the way that I build my audience is not just through YouTube. Like, I'm not just there putting up YouTube videos and expecting that YouTube is going to get me a bunch of followers. No, 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 no. What I do is my growth team will do 500, 1,000 outreach a day, probably even more, right? And I'm starting to spend money on ads. We'll get all these attention, right? We will use force. Hey, pay attention to us. Hey, pay attention to us, right? And then from there, we will direct this traffic back to our pool, back to our Facebook group, back to our YouTube content, and let the content do the work, right? And then at some point, somehow, magically, people end up becoming warm enough to want to do business with us. And of course, we have other conversion mechanisms, but mainly we grow our audience through force, right? We don't just wait to have a viral content to go viral. We're generally actively growing the audience every day, okay? So yeah, guys, that was my lesson. You know, like, if you think that you're gonna make effortlessly 100 grand profit a month without an audience, yeah, I don't know what you're like. Yeah, you're not that special. Your offer is not that special. It's not because you're smart that people will buy into your service. Like, you genuinely need to figure out a way to get attention and convert people without having to spend a bunch of money on ads, without having to spend a bunch of money on people building outbound teams, right? So now, I'm not saying that you need to just focus on building an audience. No, I'm just saying start today. Get a YouTube page up, get a Facebook group up, right? Get a really good banger. Go on Google Docs, build the best training you've ever built, right? And then let the world see it, right? Yeah, to me, one of, I think, 8-9 figure skill set is content, right? And you can look at Grant Cardone, right? The guy posts a YouTube video every day, right? And the guy is worth $1 billion, right? I was looking at his training the other day, actually last night, around how his consulting businesses, and I was like, the stuff that they're saying when it comes to business is the same shit we're talking about. Like, it's not because you're making 100 million a year that the stuff you talk about in business changes. It's the same it's the same fundamentals. It's just that you're doing more of it at scale and at a higher, throughput, right? So like, the only thing that these guys have understood is that you need attention, and you need a lot of it, right? If you only get 100 people to know about you every week, that's not enough. Get 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 impressions in a week, and I promise you, I swear to God, even if you have a shitty offer, people will buy, okay? So that's my advice. Hopefully this was good. Hopefully this was a banger. Hopefully this was an eye-opener. But yeah, build an audience. That's what I'm doing with this video. And I'm just sharing with you guys what I'm doing, right? So it's like, time will tell if I was right or if I was wrong. Have a beautiful day, guys. Bye-bye.